winging it. Prepare for ultimate awkwardness. Hey guys, welcome back to Lorny Lou. Today I thought I would share my top 5 books of all time, top 5 favourite, top 5 favourite reads and all of that, whatever. Maybe the script's a good idea. Top 5 favourite books. They're all my favourite books for different reasons, and they are sort of in an order, sort of, not really. Anyways, let's get into it. So book number 1 is Sparks by Ali Kenin. This is a teen fiction, and it's the first book I read that I really loved and really got stuck into. And I read it in one sitting. I did it for a book award at my secondary school. No, I lie, my primary school. So I was 10 when I read this book, and I read it in one sitting. Absolutely loved it. It's about 3 kids, they're all brother and sisters, and they want to give their granddad, who has just recently passed away, his dream Viking funeral, which is illegal, so they have to go against the law, which is just so thrilling and such a heartwarming story as well. I sort of want to reread it, but I also don't want to destroy my childhood expectations of it, if you know what I mean. Such a good book. Nearly dropped it. Such a good book, but it's what started off, I think, reading for me. I realised that I think I've always been aware that books have their own world in them, because I've always wanted to be a writer and make my own stuff up. But this book, I think, helped realise that for me, in the sense that books are just amazing and there is a whole world in this, and I was taken away, completely entranced with it. And this is where it all began for me. So this is number 1. Book number 2, I think, is like, for anybody who knows me, is like, well, of course this book has to be on the list, and it's Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Favourite author, favourite book. The reason this wasn't like number 1 on the list is because I've sort of done it in an order where it's like in order that I read it. So it's sort of in chronological rather than favourite. But if I did like top 5, 1 being favourite, this would be number 1. It's just such a thrilling book, so unique, I think, as well. I don't think I've read anything else like this, and I'm not sure if there is anything else like it out there. It's just so good. It's so clever. Gillian Flynn is so clever, and in this edition as well, I don't know if it's in every edition, but where is it? Here. Can you see it? Can you see it? In conversation with Gillian Flynn, so there's questions that they asked her, like, do you like Nick? Does Amy have any good qualities? How do you physically write Gone Girl? Which authors do you admire and why? She loves Margaret Atwood. Love that. There's just so much that I learned from this book, and my dissertation for my bachelor's was a thriller inspired by this book. So I've written an essay about this book multiple times as well, because I used it for my media A-level. I just love this book, and I'm a little bit obsessed with it, and if you haven't read it, read it. Book number 3 is another thriller, but this book I just couldn't put down, and I just love it so much. The Girl on the Train. Now, I've not watched the film, a little bit skeptical to watch the film because I've heard things about it. It's set in America as well, which sort of annoys me. But the book, you have to read the book. It's so good, and it's the only book to have ever made me jump. It's made me jump, guys. That's how amazing it is. Again, so thrilling, so immersive. I was in this, completely in it. I love the characters and how none of them are really likeable. Like Rachel, you're sort of on her side, but at the same time, she is this hopeless, helpless victim. And she doesn't really help herself with lots of things, and you're sort of, I don't know, it's one of these stories that you're reading it like that because it's so good, but at the same time it's so many wrong decisions. It's just so thrilling, and I didn't think it was predictable whatsoever. I sort of had my suspicions, but I was still completely blown away. by the end result, and I read this in about 3 days. Would have been shorter if I didn't have to do life. God, thrillers are like my comfort genre, which is a weird comfort genre to have because thrillers aren't exactly comforting in any way. But this would certainly be a book that I wish I could read for the first time again. Fourth book, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Did I just say tickling a mockingbird? Alright. Love this book, and I think it's a book that everyone needs to read. I originally read this for GCSE English alongside Lord of the Flies, but we don't talk about Lord of the Flies, okay? I'm just not gonna... No. This book, however, bloody love this book. It's one that I think people could learn so much from, and it's not could, would. And it's so eye-opening, so clever, and I love how it's from Scout's perspective. We're following Scout, a child, in all of this, which is so effective because it really takes you back from like an outlook of experience. Like, she's just an innocent little child that just doesn't understand the adult world of racism back in America in the 60s? 30s? A little bit off there, but you know. But this book is just so touching, funny in some circumstances as well, and it's just so real, and I love that about it. It's raw, it's real, and it has to be a book that everyone needs to read. Even if you're not a big reader, you can learn so much from this book and take so much on from it. Really eye-opening, love it, go read. Editing Lorna's making her way into this video quite a few times today, but I don't mean to come across as threatening or anything, but like, I will keep saying, go read it, if I really think the book is a good book that I think everyone should read. So all of these books, go read! And last but not least, Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. Now, I had seen the film first before reading this, and there are quite a few parallels to sort of take note on. There's obviously a lot of similarity, like the film is amazing and hasn't taken the book and butchered it like so many Hollywood adaptations of books have done. Like, they've just taken a book and sort of made it their own, whereas the film of this is an absolute masterpiece. But I was quite shocked to find out that it's so thin. Like, this is a novella, not a big chunky novel, and coming from the film first, you'd sort of expect like this to be tripled in size, but it's just, I don't know, that both are so amazing in their own right. I love the film and how it's zoomed into the things that Stephen King brings up in the book, but I love how the book is as though Red, which is Morgan Freeman's character, is basically just sat down with you, the reader, and telling you the story of Andy Dufresne. I love how it's so personal and so casual. Like, Red is just recounting his time at Shawshank and telling you the story as though it were over a cup of coffee, you know? It's such a heartwarming story and so clever, because it's, you know, these are bad men. They've done horrible stuff because they're in jail, but it's just so heartwarming and uplifting, and Stephen King makes you look at criminals in a completely different way. It makes you realise that at the end of the day they are human. And this, I know I said it with To Kill a Mockingbird, but this also has to be a book that you have to read. It's only little, it won't take you long, it's just so good. It's such a clever story. I think I've said clever quite a few times in terms of this book, like, it's just really clever, okay? It's also my first Stephen King book. My mum's read quite a few Stephen King books, my dad has as well. I've got more downstairs, so now I've been introduced to him. Definitely going to be reading more of his work. So we have it, my top 5 reads. It was kind of brief, this video. I will be going into more detail when I do reviews, but these are Lorna's top 5 reads and books I think everyone should read, really. I mean, Sparks is obviously a young person's story, but these 4 for sure. If you're into thriller and you've not read Gone Girl, I cannot emphasise to you enough, this is my favourite book of all time. you have to read it. After, if there's anything that I can do on this channel is persuade you to read Gone Girl. For these, my top, I'll get the stack sorted in a minute, Jesus. My top five favourite books of all time, books that I would definitely reread, Gone Girl that I have read countless times. All great books. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have a top 5, top 3 or all-time favourite book. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another video.